So what is Gareth Soloway doing right now with Bitcoin?
So right now with Bitcoin, I actually have a small position, which I'm looking for a small bounce. This is a very quick swing trade. I'm a swing trader by nature and a day trader. So I'm expecting us to move back to about 52 to 54,000, creating that right shoulder. And then I will be on the sidelines as it declines. My bigger positions where I'm going to put in some serious capital will be when we see 20,000 or sub 20,000. That'll be for a longer term investment in Bitcoin, and I'll hold that for multiple years.
Since it's our first time speaking, Gareth, interested to get your ideas around gold and other commodities vis-a-vis Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You like gold?
I love gold, right?
Wow.
So I'm a big fan of gold right now.
Okay.
Believe it or not, and I'm going to bring up a chart for you guys right here, but I believe gold will actually be the best performing asset in 2022, beating the stock market and beating Bitcoin.
Oh my
so
God.
I know that sounds, that's probably earth-shattering news. So first of all, check out this channel that you created. Now, a lot of people, especially Bitcoiners, they're going to say, well, gold hasn't done anything. Everyone's getting into Bitcoin. Honestly, this is exactly what you want to see from gold. So number one, the big move up from 2019 to 2020, that was a huge move. This is what's called digestion or a bull flag of consolidation. So that's actually a bullish pattern forming on the gold chart. The next thing you have to keep in mind is once you break this line, which is around 1865, you should shoot all the way back to close to 2100. And I think by the end of 2022, you're looking at a potential $3,000 price target on gold. And the last thing I'll say is if you compare the mid 70s to the mid 85 range, which is a hugely inflationary period and probably the closest to what we're experiencing now, gold for the first few years of those high inflation periods did very little. And it was later in the cycle, kind of in the late 70s, where gold just started to rip higher. And it almost seems like we're repeating that in the charts right now.
Okay. So two thoughts here. One, so then do you think that the inflation story is not temporary and here to stay, a bigger problem, and that's what will drive up gold? And do you see the dollar, look at the dollar strength now. Where's the US dollar if gold's going to reach 3,000?
Yeah. So this is the problem with, the situation with inflation. So, you've seen oil, you've seen natural gas come back in, which is part of the battle. The bigger battle for inflation that's going to keep inflation high for a long period of time is the wage increases that are going through. So, if you're Apple or if you're even just a convenience store and you've had to raise your minimum wage from $10 to $20 to get an employee in the door, you can't all of a sudden just double the prices of things on the shelves, right? You can't pass that inflation through. And remember, wage inflation is the biggest component of inflation, right? That's the biggest expense that a business has. So when you're having to raise these, what's going to happen is these businesses are going to push through the inflation or raise prices for multiple years until they kind of compensate for the jump in wages here. And that's going to make inflation last for many, many years. I don't necessarily think it's going to be 10% for many years, but I certainly think 5 to 7% is a likely multiple year inflation rate going forward. And it's not a fun thing for smaller, lower income and middle incomers. It's going to be hard for them.
All right. I hear the silver folks yelling in my ear if I don't ask you this. Silver.
All right.
Silver.
So silver.
Yes.
Let's take a look at that.
Getting there, people. Silver.
Yes. Always good to go over silver. So the silver chart is actually very bullish as well. Right now, it's holding on to this support right here, which is right around $22 per ounce. I do think there's a small chance it could dip. It's trying to break down. It's hit this line many, many times over. And if it breaks down, then you're going to see a move down here to this level here at around 19. Now, ultimately, this is still bullish consolidation. Even if it dips here, I will be a big buyer. You can see the reason I have that technical level. This is a former pivot, and former pivot. So there's a lot of supports right around here. But the key reason for understanding silver and why it could be a little bit of an issue versus gold being a pure play for inflation is that it's an industrial metal as well. So if we start seeing that slowdown in the economy because rates are going up, because the Fed is pulling money out of the system, because the stock market's declining, people don't think that they're super wealthy anymore because, their portfolios have gone down 10 or 15 or 20%, that could impact in the near term silver. But the long-term basis is that The Fed is going to come back to the rescue. As soon as unemployment starts to spike back up, they're going to come back in with more monetary easing. And just the fact that the debt in the US is so high, they can't let interest rates go that high anyways.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.